guess we had a good week of practice. I'll start off. Our guys are locked in, really locked in. I was happy with the week of practice. Coach Whip just mentioned it, a staff meeting we just walked out of. In Pascal, we throw 2 balls, and he doesn't know if we've, he said we completed all 72 balls today. It wasn't a bad throw or a drop in Pascal. So that's a good sign. Just like kids were locked in. And, I've treated this game just like any other game. I know you guys will treat it bigger, but it's just, the goal is to go 1-0 again this week. And I really liked our kids' focus. I think, coaches have done a great job, and we're ready to roll. So, questions?
What do you remember about being down there 3 years ago? Anything notable about Charlotte, the stadium, locker rooms, that kind of thing?
You know what I remember? My daughter, Christina, I give her credit. Let me go to my text messages here. My daughter, Christina, after the game, your family comes in the locker room. We had a little coach's locker room there. The thing I remember, because I don't remember a lot of that stuff, I remember losing. But she sent me this week, early in the week, and of course I can't find it. At least as I'm scrolling down here, my kids send me a lot of messages. It's a family thing, they got everything in there. But she sent me this right here. I thought this was beautiful. But after the game, you're disappointed, you got your head down, you're like, what the heck happened? It comes to us pretty good. But she wrote on the grease board in the locker room, "We'll be back." I thought that was pretty cool, okay? Lara, I'll send that to you. I thought it was pretty cool that she said that. I thought about tweeting that out, but it's like, we'll be back. And, and we're back. And, what I remember is we didn't play so good. I think Kenny threw for 8 yards. I remember having a couple delay games, like I think maybe one after the other. We didn't handle the stage like we did, and I think Clemson, had a bunch of first rounders on the defensive line. So we ran into a buzzsaw. We're a little different football team than we were back then, and so I feel good about our chances going down there. Our kids are ready to go. It's going to be a great game. I mean, they got a great offense. We got a great offense. We got a good defense. They got a good defense. We're going to find out, and we got to go make plays. And the team that makes the most plays is going to win.
Elijah, tell us about the emphasis you guys have made. Make sure there's a push on the defensive line each play to knock off what they like to do with their mesh, their RPOs stuff. Have you seen them, adapt to the challenges for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Elijah gave some good scoop there. I mean, what they do is, you guys have seen them ride their RPOs in the line of scrimmage. It's a belly play. It almost looks like their O-line is blocking for a quarterback sneak. It's, wedge blocking. They're just, and we've got to get push. You got to get push anyway, but we have to get penetration. It's not going to be easy because they're big. They know what they're doing. The thing about their offense is they don't do a lot. It's not like they're this, we do everything, but what they do really good. And I would kind of compare it to our defense. We don't do a lot, but what we do, we know what we're doing. We're going to execute better than you are, and that's what they plan on doing. And they'll have their little things in, but they execute. And the quarterback is sharp. I mean, Hartman is sharp. He's like, you watch the third down tape, I'm like, well, what are we doing here? I mean, third down, they are unbelievable. But we got to get a push, and we got to put pressure on the quarterback.
Did she remind you of what you read that?
That was the text message. She goes, "Dad, don't forget, we'll be back." So, yeah. I think all the kids were on that, but she is the one that said it this week.
Some of the players over the last few days have said that, it feels different this time than 2018 because I think you mentioned, too, it's just 2018 was, you guys were happy to be there in a sense, and now it's like, favored to go win it. Is that something that you've got a sense of during practice, during meetings, that the guys have that confidence?
Yeah, I think it's just like, I don't remember back at the week of practice we had back in 18 to say, oh yeah, but they're locked in this week. I can't tell you they weren't locked in back then. But it's like I told them afterwards, we're going to go into the locker room. It's a different locker room. They got name tags. It's different. It's not like walking into Syracuse last weekend. It's dressed up like a championship game. So the ACC does a first-class job. So you walk in there, you kind of go, oh wow, it's like I told them after practice today. Like, we're not worried about all the hoopla. We're going in there to play a football game. It doesn't matter. Okay, worry about everything after the game. But the focus is to be 1-0. But I just think we were happy to be there, and that's what it was. But it was the same thing when we got beat by Russell Wilson in Wisconsin, our first time in the Big Ten championship. We got beat, and then the next time we went back. We will be back, and we went back and beat number 1 Ohio State.
I mean, you guys play in an NFL venue every week, so do you feel like that's maybe can be something that, that's a stage that you guys are familiar with? It's not always different to you guys.
Right. I would say it's an advantage to us if it's an advantage, but a stadium is a stadium. I mean, it's a field, it's their stands. I feel like I feel like that's a wash. I don't think that's going to be the game changer. But if there is an advantage Pitt for an NFL stadium. But I don't know if it really matters.
How important is the run game this week to, you guys throw the ball, among the best in the country with Kenny and Jordan and everybody, but running the ball is that an emphasis this week with the way that they play offense too?
Yeah, well, no, we're not. We're not going to run the ball because we want to keep their offense off the field. Okay, that's our job. That's our defensive job to keep them off the field. Are they going to run the ball more to keep Kenny off the field? I don't know. I would think they're going to continue. We got to do what we do. We got to take what they're giving us. We're not going to just run up in there and go tick tock, and look at the clock. Our job on offense is to score, and our job on defense is to stop them. Our job on special teams is to have great coverage on our coverage teams on punt and kickoff, and in our return game, we got to get explosive there and make a block. So we're going to do what we do. We're not going to change our tempo for them.
In the run game, do you expect Izzy to be available?
He'll be available.
What about Gabe?
Gabe was available last week. Gabe started last week.
I think Gonzalez started.
I thought Gonzalez was in there a lot.
Yeah, maybe he was. Gabe was available. I thought Gabe was available. Well, Gabe may be available when we held him. Maybe that was what it was. It's a long time ago. Did Gabe play last week?
He started guard.
Yeah, he started right guard.
Right guard, that's right, sorry.
I thought maybe I was losing my mind.
Go ahead, Jeff.
You used a number of different combinations over the last few weeks, probably due to injury on the offensive line. How do you think that's held up, and what does that do in a game like this to know that if needed, you've got some guys that have played in games?
It helps us a bunch. I mean, Coach Borbley and Coach Whip have done a good job juggling those guys, and it's amazing how when this guy's out, we found Marcus Minor can snap this week too. We just, you kind of work different combinations. What if? We never had the what if, and then but we had some what ifs, and we've gotten to where I guess it was stupid on my part. Terrence Moore went in for one play when no one's got his helmet knocked off, which I won't call you out like our players. Golly, push that side, but where the heck was I here? I lost my concentration. Oh, we put Terrence Moore in for one play because Owen's helmet got knocked off, and the ACC agreed that should have been called. He shouldn't have had to leave the game. Should have been hands in the face. He got all that, but we put him in for one play and lost one of his 4 games. So we're trying to be careful with him and made some different things. He's a guy that we know can go in and do it, but we don't really want to do that if we don't have to. So we've worked some different combinations. It's been a great job by our offense, to answer your question, Jeff, of getting different guys and working different positions. It's been good.
Pat, when you look at the 5 Power 5 title games, I think out of the 10 schools, I want to say at least 8 of them have guys that have been in the job at least 4 years. In some cases, far longer. I mean, Kirk and whatever. Is there something to longevity? Is there something to sort of stay in the course? I mean, you mentioned Christina writing that on the board 3 years ago. In some programs, 3 years between title game appearances, you find yourself looking for work.
Yeah, people don't have much patience nowadays. My wife would probably say I don't have it either. So I'm glad I'm not an AD. Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to it. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at even those other Power 5 games. I didn't
Even
even.
you and Dave. I mean, you and Dave have been in your jobs for a while.
Yeah, it's a good thing, I guess. But just because you're in your job for a while doesn't mean you're going to be there. But I'm sure you can pull some guys out there who've been in the job for a while that aren't, playing tomorrow or Saturday, I should say. So, but
I guess on that, with the coaching carousel, what's been going on the last week, what do you make of, I guess, where your profession's at? And then your name has popped up for a couple of.
yeah, I'm focused, on this game. That's the first thing. And to me, that, I got a thing I can show you when we walk out here. We walk in my office. Okay, there's a piece of paper laying right there. It was something my dad had folded up in his pocket. It's called loyalty. Okay, and I'm all about loyalty, and it ain't about the money. Okay, it should never be about the money. And you just see some of these. I can't turn it down. Just again, I'm not going to get into talking about coaches and who made that decision to go there and that, but it's just it's and then supposedly everybody's out of money because of COVID and we couldn't have people in stands last year, but they're finding it somewhere. But they can't find enough money to make sure that everybody gets an extra year. And they put the coaches in a bind where, we can only be on 85 scholarships. It doesn't make sense. We got all this money out there to throw around, but what are we doing for the kids? That's where I'm at on it. So I'm not gonna criticize anybody for taking a job or not taking a job or whatever. It's not good. I mean, it's not good for the profession, I don't think, but.
What does it do to your locker room and to recruiting when your name gets bandied about like that?
Again, you know, EJ's my guy over there, and to be honest with you, I've been locked into this game this week, and I don't think my name has really been thrown out there, or EJ would really tell me if there was something serious going on out there. I think, you know, if you guys, I mean, Twitter, don't listen to Twitter.
It wasn't
And,
Twitter, it was actually national
yeah.
reporters.
But,
You're referring to the Dennis Dodd tweet from Thanksgiving.
and that was.
Not just that, but I think some other people had mentioned your name too.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, and like EJ would, you know, fill me in if there's something major there, but,
Can it have an effect?
I don't think so. I think our kids know where I stand, but, you know, but then when things happen and, you know, you see a Brian Kelly leave in the middle of the night, you kind of wonder. But, you know, like I said, you know, I'm happy in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's my home. I've got a daughter, it's a sophomore in Pittsburgh, Isabella. My daughter's sending me texts, we'll be back. That's we will be back, we. And we'll be back again. That's our plans, and, so.
Pat, not to, you say.
Beat a
money's-
dead horse?
No, you say money's not an issue, but you see some guys that, you know, whose resume, maybe your resume might be more accomplished than they are, and they're, you know,
I
they're making
don't
more
care.
money than you, and you're sort of like, well, what the hell? I mean, I'm saying that as somebody myself who looks at it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I've never, ever looked at it that way, okay? Matter of fact, I sent Jim Phillips a big, long text message the other day, okay? You know, we're talking about the 12 meet, you know, I guess yesterday some things came out, and he asked me, hey, Pat, what's your feeling? Which I love about the guy. I mean, how many guys, you know, just text you, and Commissioner Phillips did, you know, which is awesome. I'm sure he did with the rest of the guys. What's your feelings? And, you know, I just said, listen, there's no rush to get to 12 teams, okay? I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but, am I, EJ? I mean, there's no rush, and I don't know if the ACC has a stance, or I'm not gonna get into who said what, with all the 12-man talk, but it sounds like they've put it on pause a little bit. And to me, it's what I said to him, don't make quick decisions, take your time. And that's what I'm all about, is take your time in decision making. I've turned down 5 head coaching jobs before I took the right one, okay? I've turned down a lot of money. I mean, I could've gone doubled my money with Kevin Sumlin, Texas A&M a long time ago, and said no. Like, most people don't do that. I'm not like some of these other guys. And that's, you know, that's what it is. And that's how I feel. I mean, 2 days before I turned this job down, turned down Colorado State. I don't know if you know that. So it's like, those are things that, you know, you just, like, you know, it's like you may never get it, you know, you turn down Colorado State, you may never have another opportunity and to be a head coach. But it's like, I'm happy where I am. It's not about the money. Turned down UConn along when Bob Diaco took the thing. So it's not about the money. And again, I'm making $800,000. I turned down, you know, $3 million. I'm an idiot, right? You're probably saying you're an idiot.
You're kind of an idiot.
Okay, but I mean, it's 800, 3 million. Like, what are you doing? But it ain't about that. And you know, those are facts. So it's never going to be about that.
When you're someone who maybe has a different outlook than.
Is this a Wake Forest question?
No, no. When you're someone that maybe has a different outlook than a lot of people in your field, how important is it to have someone that you're working with that understands you and where you're coming from, this university, that kind of, there's, you know, that there's a two-way appreciation of that viewpoint?
Well, I think it's good. I mean, like I said, you know, the Chancellor Gallagher hired me back in the day, and me and Heather get along great. I mean, it's you know, again, it's about the people, and you know, there's places that you've got interest in. You're looking. I don't know that person. I mean, there's a reason you make decisions. Like I said, it's about the people, and you know, you go back to Michigan State a year ago. I mean, I don't know the AD. If Mark Hollis was there, if Luann Simon was there, the president, maybe it's a different story. But I don't know the people. Don't matter about the money. Those are reasons why. And you know, Chancellor Gallagher's awesome, and Heather's great, and it's about being happy every day. And it's why when you have decisions or something to go on, you guys, I don't even know what we're talking about, to be honest with you. I don't know where you guys are going. But next question.
There's been a lot of talk from your players, just they still.
See, I like it's Chris about the players. You always got the like, I'm gonna go get Phil Campbell next. But
I was gonna call Phil, but I thought about it. But he was, you know, he's one of several players. You know, people still think about the Western Michigan loss. That's still ingrained in your team. And now you're playing a team that runs this RPO offense. That's, you know, this is a different level that you guys put for. How have you guys seen you guys approach the challenges? Other teams have tried it against you. It's just, and you guys have defended it better. But now you're facing what seems like an ultimate
the
test.
gurus. The
Yeah.
Gurus of the RPO. And again, you know, in an ACC game, so I, hope mentally we're ready to go play in the game. We've gotten better at it, and again, it comes down to making plays, and it comes down to, schemes at times, but you still gotta make plays, and we're gonna have our opportunities to make plays, and I would say they are the gurus of, this is the major RPO team, period. They do it as good as anybody in the country, and they've got their little niche, and that's what they're gonna ride all the way to the end. They're good at it, and, you either stop the run, and, that's what he's, I've never seen a guy ride the RPOs in the line that long, but he's like this. It's like you can't tell who he's reading. Is he reading the stars? Is he reading the boundary safety? Is he reading the money backer? You don't even know who he's reading. But the guy's like swivel head like this. Like the guy's smart. He's obviously a Wake Forest, kid. Got into school there like it's getting into Pitt, and he's intelligent and does a nice job.
And what's the balance in that regard of knowing when to get your hands up? Because if someone's riding that line, you may have an opportunity to get your hand, but if you do, you lose leverage, obviously.
Yeah, you like to get your hands up. It's a great point. It's important to get batted down balls. He's not 6'5" either. Riding that thing in there. But you got to get penetration. First, as we talked earlier, you got to get. It's like a field goal. If you just line up on a field goal, and just try to jump up in the air. The closer you get to the ball comes out like that for the most part. The closer you get to it, if I get close to the ball, it's going to be lower, and you'll have a chance. So that's something we focus on. But it's but if you start jumping and putting your arms up before it's time, then you get knocked back. And what you'll see is he rides, and if he doesn't like it, and the handoff's gone, then he lets it go. He doesn't hand it to the running back, and then he's looking and it's still not there. Then he takes off and scrambles. And a lot of times, guys will get washed at that point because they're trying to get their hands up. So there's a fine line of being there and getting your hands up and maintaining your gap integrity.
With a full season under his belt, what have you seen from Sam Scardin? Okay.
You know what? He's been outstanding. Obviously, I think a third team All ACC. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or honorable mention, one or the other. For a young guy, he's been money. And he's had one game that wasn't so good. Besides that, you're happy with what he's done throughout the season.
Have you ever competed against Clausen? He talked about he knew you when you were at Rhode Island. He was at Villanova. Have you ever competed against him?
Yeah, I think they beat us. They had that tailback at Villanova back in the day, I believe, with Andy Talley, and it was a great one. It was a great tailback, greatest tailback at Villanova.
Westbrook.
Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
Westbrook.
What's his first name?
Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, Westbrook. Whew, with the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
He had Westbrook. Nobody could cover him. So, so we've known each other for a long time, from back in those days. So we competed him, back then. Then obviously we played him in 2018 too.
Anything else?
Did that help you? Did you
No.
coach against him before?
No, helps me like him. That's it.
Only that one time, just one game?
No, I would say more than that, but I have no idea. I mean, that was a long time ago. Jerry, you have to go back and look at the staffs. I
I'll
guess.
check it out.
You're talking about Clausen.
Yeah.
I mean, 18.
No, I'm talking about when they were.
He's talking
Oh,
about
back in the day.
Yeah, back.
Yeah. So I'm sure we probably played against each other 4 or 5 times. I'm guessing. Anything else? All right, gentlemen.
See you all.